"Dad, there's a state trooper over here wanting to talk to you." So he went over to the boneyard. He got out, he looked around, and just couldn't believe it.
The history of our planet is filled with mysteries, many of which have remained unsolved for centuries. One of the most debated topics in paleontology and archaeology is the timeline of human evolution and the extinction of dinosaurs. For decades, mainstream science has maintained that dinosaurs disappeared around 65 million years ago due to a massive asteroid impact. Meanwhile, humans, in their earliest form, are believed to have evolved only about 2.5 million years ago. But what if that timeline was wrong? What if dinosaurs and early humans actually coexisted? Recent discoveries are challenging everything we thought we knew about prehistory. New fossil evidence, ancient cave paintings, and even preserved biological material suggest that the story of Earth's past may not be as clear-cut as we once believed. If proven true, this revelation would shake the foundations of evolutionary theory, rewrite history books, and force scientists to reconsider how humans fit into the grand timeline of life on Earth. One of the most astonishing pieces of evidence comes from fossilized footprints uncovered in North America. In a remote area of New Mexico, researchers have discovered a series of ancient tracks embedded in what was once wet, clay-rich sediment. The most shocking detail? Human-like footprints appear alongside the massive, clawed tracks of a large theropod dinosaur. The age of these tracks has been confirmed using radiometric dating, placing them at approximately 100,000 years old, far younger than the traditional extinction date of non-avian dinosaurs. If these footprints truly belong to an early human species, then it means our ancestors walked the Earth at the same time as some of the most fearsome creatures to ever live. But this is not the only anomaly. Across the world, various ancient cultures have depicted creatures that closely resemble dinosaurs in their artwork and mythology. In Central and South America, indigenous carvings and petroglyphs show long-necked creatures with reptilian features reminiscent of sauropods. In Cambodia, the famous Ta Prohm Temple, built in the 12th century, contains a carving that bears a striking resemblance to a stegosaurus. How could these civilizations have accurately depicted creatures that were supposedly extinct for millions of years? Another piece of evidence comes from the fossilized remains of what appears to be soft tissue inside dinosaur bones. This discovery, first made by Dr. Mary Schweitzer in the early 2000s, revealed collagen and other organic materials that should have decayed long ago. If dinosaurs truly died out 65 million years ago, how could their biological material still exist in a recognizable form? The presence of soft tissue suggests that these bones may be far younger than we assumed, opening the door to the possibility that dinosaurs persisted well into human prehistory. Adding to the mystery, there are also reports from indigenous tribes in remote regions of the world that speak of large, dinosaur-like creatures still roaming the depths of jungles and swamps. In the Congo, stories of the Mokelembembe describe a massive, long-necked beast that resembles a sauropod. While mainstream scientists dismiss these reports as myths or misidentifications of modern animals, the consistency of these stories across different cultures raises the question: could these creatures be remnants of a forgotten past? To understand how such a discovery could be possible, we must examine the prevailing theories of extinction. The most widely accepted theory is that a massive asteroid impact 65 million years ago triggered a catastrophic chain of events leading to the demise of non-avian dinosaurs. However, some scientists propose that not all dinosaurs perished immediately. Some species, especially smaller ones, may have survived in isolated pockets of the world for much longer than previously believed. This idea isn't as far-fetched as it sounds. Many prehistoric species once thought extinct, such as the coelacanth fish and the Wollemi pine tree, have been rediscovered in modern times. But how could dinosaurs have coexisted with early humans without leaving behind more obvious evidence? One possibility is that humans and dinosaurs lived in vastly different environments. If small populations of dinosaurs survived in remote areas, deep jungles, isolated islands, or vast swamps, it's possible that encounters with early humans were rare. However, when these encounters did occur, they may have been passed down through oral traditions, giving rise to myths and legends of dragons, sea serpents, and other fantastical beasts. Another possibility is that mainstream science has been reluctant to accept evidence that contradicts the established timeline. Paradigm shifts in science are rare and often met with skepticism. In the past, discoveries that challenged existing theories, such as the idea that humans originated in Africa or that continental drift shaped the Earth's surface, were initially rejected before eventually gaining acceptance. Could the same be happening with the evidence suggesting dinosaurs and humans coexisted? Some researchers believe that the suppression of alternative evidence is due to the rigidity of the scientific establishment. Academic careers, funding, and reputations are often built upon established theories, making it difficult for radical new ideas to gain traction. If new discoveries challenge the foundational assumptions of evolutionary biology, it could lead to intense resistance from those invested in the prevailing narrative. There are also implications for how we understand early human survival and adaptation. If humans did, in fact, encounter dinosaurs, it would mean that our ancestors faced far greater threats than previously imagined. Surviving alongside massive carnivorous reptiles would have required extraordinary intelligence, adaptability, and perhaps even early forms of weaponry and defensive structures. Could this have accelerated human cognitive development, forcing early humans to become more strategic and cooperative in their survival efforts? Religious and mythological texts across cultures also contain references to enormous reptilian beasts. In the Bible, the Leviathan and Behemoth are described as massive creatures that sound eerily similar to dinosaurs. Chinese folklore speaks of dragons with immense power, while Norse mythology includes the Midgard serpent, a giant reptile that encircles the world. Could these stories be distorted memories of real creatures that once roamed the Earth? The implications of dinosaurs coexisting with early humans are staggering. It would force scientists to completely rethink the timeline of Earth's history and human evolution. It would mean that dinosaurs were not merely creatures of a long-forgotten past, but a living part of the human story. If some species managed to survive into relatively recent history, it also raises the question, could there still be undiscovered descendants of dinosaurs living today? As researchers continue to investigate, the evidence continues to mount. Each new discovery challenges the conventional understanding of prehistory, bringing us closer to the truth about our planet's ancient past. Whether through new fossil evidence, ancient artwork, or scientific breakthroughs in dating technology, the mystery of dinosaurs and early humans remains one of the most intriguing puzzles in science. Ultimately, the question is no longer whether the traditional timeline is flawed, but how much of what we know needs to be rewritten. If dinosaurs and humans once walked the Earth together, it would be one of the greatest discoveries in the history of science. And as new evidence emerges, one thing is certain: our understanding of history is far from complete. The past is still revealing its secrets, and the truth may be far stranger than we ever imagined. The discovery of human-like footprints alongside dinosaur tracks is not an isolated phenomenon. In fact, similar findings have been reported in multiple locations around the world, raising serious questions about our understanding of history. One of the most famous cases comes from the Paluxy River in Texas, where researchers and amateur fossil hunters have long debated the meaning of fossilized tracks found in limestone formations. Some of these tracks appear to show large, three-toed dinosaur prints, while others bear a striking resemblance to human footprints. The controversy surrounding the Paluxy River tracks has sparked heated debates among paleontologists, with some arguing that the human-like prints are either misidentified dinosaur tracks or natural erosional features. However, proponents of the coexistence theory insist that these footprints provide undeniable evidence that humans once walked alongside dinosaurs. But the mystery doesn't end with footprints. In addition to physical evidence, there are also ancient artifacts that seem to depict dinosaurs in ways that challenge mainstream science. The Ica stones of Peru, for example, are a collection of thousands of engraved stones discovered in the Ica province. Many of these stones depict scenes of early humans interacting with creatures that bear an uncanny resemblance to dinosaurs. Long-necked sauropods, horned triceratops-like creatures, and even what appears to be a T-Rex. Skeptics argue that the Ica stones are forgeries created in modern times, but others point to the sheer number of stones and their intricate carvings as evidence that they could be authentic relics of a lost history. Similarly, the Acámbaro figurines of Mexico, discovered in the 1940s, include small ceramic sculptures that appear to depict humans riding dinosaurs or interacting with them in daily life. Archaeologists who examined the figurines were stunned by their detail and accuracy. If these artifacts are genuine, it would suggest that ancient civilizations had direct knowledge of creatures that were supposed to have gone extinct millions of years before humans ever evolved. Mainstream scientists, however, dismiss the Acámbaro figurines as hoaxes, arguing that they lack proper archaeological context and have not been reliably dated. So what would it mean if humans and dinosaurs really did coexist? First, it would require us to reevaluate the entire timeline of Earth's history. The traditional view holds that dinosaurs dominated the planet for over 150 million years before their sudden extinction 65 million years ago. If some species survived that event and continued to exist into the time of early humans, then the extinction timeline would have to be revised. One possible explanation is that certain dinosaurs, particularly smaller or more adaptable species, managed to persist in isolated environments. In much the same way that we have living fossils today, such as the coelacanth, a deep-sea fish thought to have gone extinct 66 million years ago before being rediscovered in the 20th century. It is possible that dinosaurs could have survived in remote regions of the world long after their supposed extinction. This would align with reports from indigenous tribes across Africa, South America, and Southeast Asia, many of whom have long spoken of large reptilian creatures that resemble dinosaurs. In the Congo, legends of the Mokele Mbembe describe a massive, long-necked beast that lives in deep, swampy regions. Some cryptozoologists believe that the Mokele Mbembe could be a surviving sauropod, hidden in the vast, unexplored rainforests of Central Africa. Though no conclusive evidence has been found, the persistence of these stories suggests that they could be based on real encounters passed down through oral tradition. Another compelling piece of evidence comes from the world of paleontology itself. In recent years, scientists have discovered preserved soft tissue in dinosaur fossils, a finding that has stunned researchers. Traditional science tells us that organic material like collagen and blood vessels should completely degrade within a few thousand years. Yet paleontologists, such as Dr. Mary Schweitzer, have found these materials still intact in dinosaur bones. Could this mean that these fossils are much younger than we originally believed? If so, it would open up the possibility that dinosaurs survived much longer than previously thought. There is also the question of ancient myths and legends that appear to describe encounters with dinosaur-like creatures. The concept of dragons appears in nearly every ancient culture, from the fire-breathing beasts of European folklore to the benevolent serpent-like dragons of Chinese mythology. These creatures bear a striking resemblance to dinosaurs, particularly large theropods and pterosaurs. Could these stories be based on real encounters between humans and surviving dinosaurs? In the Middle Ages, European explorers returning from distant lands often described enormous reptilian beasts that guarded remote territories. Some of these accounts have been dismissed as exaggerated tales, but others contain specific details that suggest they may have been based on real creatures. The story of St. George slaying a dragon, for example, is one of the most famous dragon myths in the Western world. While many view it as purely symbolic, some researchers believe it could be a distorted memory of early humans encountering real, surviving dinosaurs. Even in modern times, there are reports of unidentified creatures that resemble prehistoric reptiles. In Papua New Guinea, stories persist of the ropen, a large winged creature that closely resembles a pterosaur. Witnesses describe its massive wingspan, elongated beak, and bioluminescent glow, features that align with what we know about some ancient flying reptiles. Similarly, fishermen off the coasts of Japan and South America have reported catching bizarre prehistoric-looking creatures that defy classification. If even one of these reports turned out to be true, it would completely rewrite history. But if dinosaurs did survive alongside humans, why is there so little direct evidence? One possible explanation is that early humans faced with such formidable predators may have actively hunted dinosaurs to extinction. Throughout history, humans have driven countless species to extinction, from the woolly mammoth to the dodo. If our ancestors encountered the last surviving dinosaurs, it is plausible that they saw them as a threat, or even as a source of food, and wiped them out before recorded history began. Another factor could be the rapid advancement of human civilization. As humans developed agriculture, built cities, and spread across the globe, any remaining dinosaur populations may have been pushed further into the wilderness, reducing their numbers until they finally disappeared. If only a handful of species survived into human prehistory, their impact on early civilizations may have been limited, leaving behind only scattered myths, artifacts, and mysterious footprints as evidence of their existence. So where does this leave us? The idea that dinosaurs and humans coexisted remains highly controversial, but the evidence continues to accumulate. Whether it's fossilized tracks, ancient carvings, or reports of surviving creatures, there are enough anomalies to suggest that mainstream science may not have the full picture. If further discoveries continue to challenge the accepted timeline, the scientific community may be forced to reconsider one of the most fundamental aspects of Earth's history. As new excavation techniques and dating methods improve, we may one day find definitive proof that dinosaurs walked among early humans. Until then, the debate rages on, and the possibility of a hidden chapter in Earth's history remains one of the greatest mysteries of our time. Could it be that the history books have only scratched the surface of what really happened millions, or perhaps only thousands, of years ago? The truth may still be out there, waiting to be uncovered.